Hi, welcome back to How Along with Spot. Um, going to talk a little bit. We were going to do an episode about the debate for certain reasons, didn't get around to it. But then a couple days ago, a friend of ours in Charlottesville, uh, who, like many Americans, gets a lot of their information from politics by talking with people that they know, you know, who often are not really very well informed. And he saw a button we had. It was our Elmo um, I am Antifa button, and that has to do with incident that happened with Carl Tuckerson, who we have a companion button with that with Liar Tuck, who did a rant on Elmo after a Black Lives Matter thing on Sesame Street. Uh, and he brought up Antifa and the violent, he's a violent group or some whatever the story it is, and we began talking about, this is talk about anti-fascism and look around what's happening and so forth and so on. And he brought the example of Corey Long. Corey Long was a um, counter protesters during the Unite the Right rally that happened in Charlottesville in 2017. Um, and he improvised a defense mechanism by uh, taking aerosol can, using a lighter to set the flame off, and using it to create a barrier. And of course, the headlines and charges against him was that he was uh, brandished it or used it to against a protester, a right-wing protester who was brandishing the Confederate flag. Now, we were involved in the Tab D protest in Cincinnati that happened, I believe it was in 20, just at the turn of the millennia. And there was a anarchist who had a stick like this with half of the stick committed to holding a black and red anarcho-communist flag. The riot cops in Cincinnati tear gassed a crowd of several hundred people to send in a SWAT team, to wrestle this dangerous weapon away from this violent anarchist who's potential of having a weapon, and you know, locked it up, tear gassed this whole crowd. Um, One of the medics was treating one of the people tear gassed, and he was wearing a gas mask, and a team came down, to force him to take off his mask or whatever they do because it was illegal to wear a mask. And we positioned ourselves to take pictures of what was happening. And the medic turned around and goes, "Can I finish treating my patients first?" And they backed off. And the medic thanked us because it was only because we were picturing it at the time that he thought that the guys actually did back off. Right? So that is how left wingers are treated by the cops. I had my umbrella taken from me the year after that because I couldn't enter the downtown mall carrying that dangerous weapon when people were walking in with firearms. Give me a fucking break, right? Um, and so my friend was, whatever he heard from his right wing friend was that, well, look at them. They brought a homemade flamethrower. Bull fucking shit, right? And the other thing is that Confederate flag, that was a full size Confederate flag, right? You can see the picture, and he has it rolled up. Now, if you have a stick like this, you can use this as a weapon. Read some of Caliban's works on Bushido, and it'll talk about the physics involved in that. Um, but if you put a flag in it, that's like putting a parachute behind it. The speed necessary to inflict harm is not very much achievable. But that Confederate flag was wrapped up. So it had less air resistance and was being used as a spear. And you look at the photo, you see that's what's happening. This guy is poking through this brush at these protesters, and the other guy's obviously doing an arc just to keep the distance. I was maced during that protest and had people trying to hit me with a club. Fortunately, because of Caliban's training, we were able to maintain orientation with, even though we're blind. And that's also the dissociation helps with that. But, I'm talking about the difference between left and right. How does this deal with the debate? Please shut up, man. That was the best line. I mean, t-shirts with that sold out within 24 hours of the debate. Right? Not just from the Democrats, but other businesses put it out and found themselves being sold out. It was undoubtedly, and yet it's looking at, both candidates, but bull fucking shit. If you think that Biden, I put out a never Biden button. I included satirical cards in the whole Trump magic deck. Biden, but he's not Trump. He's not a fascist. He's not going to destroy our republic or our democracy. So yeah, you should go to Biden. And he's going to win by a tremendous amount. And we have this guy actively trying to steal our election, which will be civil war. Look up Bosnia. That will be America. People are worried about these right-wing fanatics. Military will take them out in seconds. But if you want to have America, and I'm talking right now to you conservatives, if you want that, go ahead, let Trump steal the election, right? And he will succeed in creating the United States once the major world power into a third world country. He has driven us like a beater car in northern Minnesota. That's what he's done to our economy, all because he wants to play out the game long enough so he comes through the other side, just like he has with all the lawsuits, But there's no statute of limitation for what he has done to this country. And if you think that Biden handled that debate wrong, you could set up something, I'd be glad to do it. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Team Justice would be glad to do it. Maybe even Alec Baldwin's Friday Night Live. You try to debate someone doing what Trump did to you and come out anywhere near as good. And I'll give Biden that, right? I'm reminded of something that happened during the Bosnian War. People looked that up, Bosnia-Herzegovina. There was a genocide happening of Muslims and cosmopolitan mixed-race city that was being destroyed by fascists who wanted to that's where the word, if you've heard ethnic cleansing, that's where this word entered our modern vocabulary, and people were saying, well, isn't it true that they are using violence too to defend themselves? Bull fucking shit. Was one of the Bosnians says, handling justice or fairness doesn't mean shooting the wolves and the sheep in equal numbers. And it is time. People talk about woke and unwoke. People need to wake up, or the centrists who control the Democratic Party. It is way past time for Nancy Pelosi to either step up or step aside. Just, but everything, everything. She has let the Republicans walk over the Congress for 4 years now. We need someone like AOC. I don't remember names very well. It's part of having a persona developed from dogs. We don't use names, but any of these congressmen and congresswomen, mostly actually congresswomen, anyone in the squad, would be a better speaker, because we need people to start fighting to preserve our democracy if it's going to happen. That's all I have to say. I'll try to put up a few attachments or links about the button or it's referenced in this, and have a nice